Alright, this is a test. See if we can get a good video out of it. My name is Ponter. Today we're going to be looking at a very old World in Conflict game. One that was played, I believe, in 2009 between two teams that are decent. On the USA side, we've got Shiny, which is a team that I played on. It's definitely not the best player, but we were pretty good back then. And then we're against some team that I don't even know who they are. I can't remember. They were smurfing pretty hard. And they're on the USSR side, and we're on Farmland, which is one of my favorite maps. Let's see if I can remember how to show the whole map. Fuck's sake. Alright, there we go. So, really this map, it's big open. You got constant fight around the bridge. And both teams have kind of a CP that is easy to defend and hard to defend. And there's definitely some talk about imbalance on this map, because if you look at the USA side, they've got North Farm airstrip on their side of the river, and the bridge is pretty close, is basically equal distance between spawns. Meanwhile, USSR only has an easily defendable crop refinery. But this is a 5v5. You got two good teams, and in the meta of this day and age, I'm talking 2009 or whenever this was played, there was definitely a lot of different strategies, and we're going to see a double armor on Shiny side, and I believe a double air on the USSR side. And so basically most clan games, like serious games, were played both sides. Most serious clan games, you know, the loadout, what role that you double up on is the most critical thing. So if you're pubbing with 8v8s, whatever, it doesn't matter what role you play. But in a clan game or a serious game, match mode, you really got to think about what role you want to double on. So generally on this map, because it's so open, you don't want to do a double inf. I mean, double inf is awesome, especially when you have two good infantry players, and Shiny at the time had Silver, who's probably one of the best infantry players, and Hunter, who's another great, probably one of the best infantry players in the game. Those two guys are why we were so successful as a team. Not to diminish everybody else other than myself. And yeah, but on this map, there's not enough trees to do double inf, because as soon as you do double inf, you're going to get burned. You know, all you need is one support player clever enough to get a medium arty and spam phosphorus everywhere, or a couple napalms and your trees are gone, and then you're just getting slaughtered. So on this map, the meta was always to do double air, and just two heavy air players who know what they're doing can just stomp everybody and really help your push. But as you can see, our air player, he loves med-air. He doesn't love med-air. He hates med-air, but med-air was the response to the double air pushes, because if you had a med-air player just shooting missiles at the heavy air players all game, they can't get their choppers vetted up. You know, their scouts are going to get sniped. And really, med-air at this level was very useful. You know, sniping scout choppers from the armor players, which we're going to see a lot of. You know, it's just a good. It sucks to play. It's boring, but it is a good response to the double air. And I have some replays of just double air just crushing on, especially on this map. And really, this map is hard to play support because there's no cover. You're getting sniped by tanks all day, and you're spread out because you have to cover all of this or all of that. So yeah, so we're going double armor, which is interesting, and double armor on this map. Like, I'm an armor player. I love armor. Double armor is an interesting one because you have cheaper drops. You know, 16 points for two tanks. It's pretty good. You get 16 points for two paras. It's also pretty good. and you can cover a lot of ground, and armor just racks up damage and points because you're capping stuff. Gives you a lot of map control, a lot of you have 2 armor players dropping scouts all the time, so you have good good vision. So overall, and you can see here Hunter is playing our second armor, and it's just shameful that he's probably a better armor player than me, even though that was my main plan. But he's already planning his tank line, So you want a nice juicy tank line of heavies, just shooting constantly in this. And yeah, so now we're just planning. The big thing is always grabbing this bridge, and what you'll see in this match, we focus heavily on the bridge, and the other team, whatever the copyright dudes, they focus on the flanks, and we'll see whose strategy pays off in the end. And I'm just going to speed this up because I'm running out of things to say, and I don't even know if this is going to work. So just a little background. I have like 60 replays from like 10 years ago, from an old replay folder I found on an old hard drive, and I'm just going to go through the interesting games. And really, the purpose of this is to get people to play World in Conflict again, and also the people who are playing World in Conflict again, hopefully they can learn something from people who were playing it at a pretty high level back then, just to see how the game was played at a high level, and also to remember how the game was played at a high level. And also that's just the glorious trash talk. Shiny always trash talked. There's some funny games that I got for you guys coming up. This one is a more serious game. And I can't remember playing it, but I think we were raging pretty hard.
We're sending in the reinforcements now.
And here we go. And oh yeah, let's talk about the loadouts. So first of all, Silver, basic. He's already getting a medium RDC. He knows what's up. He's just playing defense. He's going to neutralize the other infantry guy. We got a scout helicopter and an armored transport, 2 heavies from Hunter.
Your new units are at the battlefield.
I Love Mid-Air is playing Mid-Air, and got a stack of heavy anti-air. That's a good loadout. And then I'm going with 2 lights and then 2 heavies, which I think, looking back, this is not the right loadout to do, but it gets the job done.
We're standing by to send in more units.
Now look, we've got 1 medium air already, which is standard. Other heavy air is already fucking us up. And we're wasting missiles. Although, look, we're taking out the scout right away. And then here is their strategy. They're going in all on whatever this is, the crop refinery or whatever, on our farm. And we're going to see them push this all game long. And already we've got heavy tanks, magicking in there.
Artillery barrage inbound.
Heavy anti-air, 2 heavy tanks, an infantry player, and 2 air players. So they're focusing heavy. We managed to snag the bridge. And I'm going to turn down my sounds because this is distracting.
You got casualties.
Can I even do that? Can I do that? Hell yeah. Alright. And immediately our counter is heavy already. And now this is an interesting strategy. Like, destroy the cover, destroy the enemy units. That's good. But it's going to slow us down onto the drops. And we're going to fall behind on the drop game in this game. I mean, this is good damage. It's great. They decap the bridge. We're fighting over it. Look, we've got a good tank spread. And their heavy air can't do anything about it. Even though these are pretty exposed and we have bad visual and our scout's almost dead. You can see we're falling behind in the drops, and this is drops. That's the name of this game, is really just spamming drops because it's free units, right? You don't pay reinforcement points for them, you just pay TA. And they're locking us out of this, and we got a bad tick against us. It's not looking good. And all we're doing is spamming more destructive TA on them instead of doing our own drops. Now, this is kind of early stages of the game where you're just trying to destroy cover, so they nuke our cover here. Getting some good hot shots on the support units. And I just want to talk about Flappy Ears, who's the and look at this nice cap. But this guy, is a good armor player. So I can't remember who he is, but he plays very well in this game, and I think that's partially because he's the only armor player, and he has no heavy air to scare him, so he can just overextend and basically just camp and shoot as much as he wants.
Your reinforcement has arrived.
Which is a good way to get points. So he's going to kill it in points this game. And meanwhile, we're just getting pushed back, you know, barely holding on to what should be our own point. And we don't have the bridge. I'm begging for repairs, which is I should have pulled back. At least we have line of sight.
We are ready to send another wave of reinforcements.
That's a good, we're calling out the jeeps. That's a good play always to make. And now look at, like, Silver is so pushed back that he has to, like, do defensive drops. Like, he's not even thinking of attacking the enemy. He's just dropping literally to protect himself. And look at this. They're dropping tanks all over us. They've got a heavy in there. They still got AA. And we can't mop this up because we don't have heavy air. And that's really the problem with the double tank. You can't have heavy air clean up overextended shit. And, you know, not sure how effective the heavy armor is. And let's look at the points. So the armor players are doing very well. Their armor player is doing great. Look at that. He's like doubling R2 tank guy's score. And they still got that tick on us. And it's just a neutralized bridge. And they're all on our shit on this side. Oh, as we let this play out, I just want to talk about how to play this game properly from a noob perspective. So notice the tanks are chilling, and you know the tanks have long range, and you can sit back and just shoot with tanks, and that's what you want to do. And you know, we're communicating. We're trying to take out scout choppers. I don't know. If you're bad at this game at this point, it's probably too late to get good, but these are some things, you know, we're keeping the units separate. You know, you don't just box all 4 of your tanks and right click and drive across the bridge, overextend and die. You know, that's not how you play.
If you need more units, just make the call.
Meanwhile, medium air battle is great. We're finally going to kill this fucking heavy anti-air. Not that it matters, though. There's some nice pullback. Shoutouts to me. Dodging the TA, but staying on the bridge. You know, you gotta stay on that bridge or else this guy's gonna run over and cap it. And this is probably bad. I'm bunching up my tanks compared to Hunter, who's like spread out all over the place. And notice the forests are being burned to shit. You know, no forest here, no forest here. This forest has been burned. This forest has been burned. This forest has been burned. We're dropping all over. Oh, and look, nice simultaneous drop. Oh, not this one. They do some of those later on. But we had a medium anti-air push. It's pretty interesting. Finally, we capture this. And because they start focusing their attention on this side, and we start getting a positive tick. And this is why people say that this map is unbalanced, because the US player, all they have to do is defend this. And if you're competent, you can. And if you defend this, which is also very easy because the enemy has to cross this river, you know, and then you just have to contest the bridge and you win. So, I mean, my personal opinion is that this is a pretty neutral map, and it really depends on how good the other team is. So now we're doing defensive drops because they're pressing us here, which is the right move, but it shows that our drops back here, we finally start getting an offensive drop. And it's just sitting in the back waiting to get killed. Meanwhile, we're not strong anywhere. We've got no presence in the center, even though we've got 3 tanks kicking around, no line of sight. Our scout died somehow. Oh no, a scout has been forgotten by me in the back. Okay, there we go. Got overextended tanks over here. And it's just a drop off. Look at this. 6 tanks get dropped, and Shiny's tanks get cleaned up by the heavy air. And we have no AA. Oh yeah, we do have AA over there, thank God. So Sirth, another note, Sirth is a beautiful German man, and but he didn't have a mic at the time. So we were playing with a mic-less support player, which I guess isn't the worst, you know. at the time, I think I was doing a lot of the talking, along with Silver and Hunter. So we didn't, and Tim, who's playing as I Love Medium Air. But you really need to have mics on everybody, and that's another thing that contemporary, I don't know, 2020 WIC scene. I don't think anybody's gotten a team together that talks. You know, there's nobody talking in the pub games that we scrape together these days. But communication obviously is key. More air trading, and this is like, man, medium air is just cancerous. Just ruins games, you know. And I can't. Kudos to the air players who played in this meta.
Your new units are combat ready.
Again, like just played medium air the whole time. This is us getting frustrated. Like Flappy Ears has got all these ranked up tanks just killing us. And look at this simultaneous drop. Like 6 drops, NTA. The air is there. They got AA, even though they don't even need AA. This is a beautiful push. And we have nothing there. Everything that we have is dead. And we're spending TA. We spent 25 TA to get a 5-point cap. I mean, they spent a lot too, but I mean, that's like 30 TA plus the drops. And that's a pretty good heavy airstrike. And this is what a lot of these games turn down to, is just like spamming heavy airstrikes on either side of the bridge and doing a kamikaze cap and hoping you don't get sniped. And then, oh, can you survive? Can you get under the bridge? And that was a pointless pop smoke, but whatever. And or counter to their beautiful simultaneous drop is just more heavy arty. And I mean, that's a crutch. I think heavy arty is probably one of the best TAs to use, but still. But now, I think we're getting a little bit more control in the game.
10 minutes.
You know, we're redropping, we're decapping this, we're keeping this uncapped.
Your new units are combat
They're blowing
ready.
the shit out of us with arty. And again, they can sneak a tank over this bridge. His tanks are really beat up, so he doesn't care. He can push tanks across the bridge. We don't have any heavy air to clean him up. And even killing his AA is pointless, because like, what's the AA going to do to us?
Standing by to send in more units.
And we send a bunch of drops in unsupported, and they die almost instantly. And we just give them free TA here. So this is it's a frustrating game. You know, at least the repair tank survived.
You lost a unit.
And again, Silver just has to play in a fucking match, or like in a pile of ash. You know, there's no cover whatsoever, and he's getting triple teamed half the time. Like, watch how fast this drop lasts. I don't even know. I can't remember how long he lasts, but I doubt he will last very long. And look, we're not contesting the bridge. We barely hold a point that should be a gimme. And the drops are dead almost instantly. At least they got their arty down. No, I just killed that guy. Good for them. And just look at this. Like, they got a star medium arty and a star. Like, just stars everywhere. So they're keeping their units alive.
Your reinforcement
You know,
is
they're not
ready.
keeping that medium air alive, at least. So how is Shiny gonna pull this out? You know, at this point, you gotta, when you're losing a met game like this, you gotta take a moment and stabilize. But then you also gotta think,
Unit lost.
how are we gonna like turn this around? And meanwhile, we're getting dropped. And this is a great thing about WIC competitive. Like, you really gotta
Sending in
stay
the
on your
reinforcements
toes.
now.
You know, you're microing at 3 different places, but you also have to think, okay, on a high level, we need to make a move that's gonna win us a point at least and get us in a positive tick. Meanwhile, they're like double capping us and holding the bridge.
Your
And
reinforcement
now we're
is
starting to
ready.
get desperate. I think at this point, I'm gonna, you know, if I was me right now, I would, which I am, I would decap that bridge in desperation to slow the tick down. But you'll wait. This replay is called Farm Push, and I picked it randomly
Standing by
out of the
to send in
bunch
more
to
units.
watch first because I love farm and I love pushes. So we're gonna see a farm push eventually, I think. Meanwhile, more heavy arty, heavy air support, probably a waste. Could have got away with just like a cluster. But the drop is a nice touch. And dropping art inf in this situation is great because you can't get one-shotted. We've cleaned them up here. Another overextended tank. That's great. But we're just getting demolished over here. There's absolutely no cover. And it's unacceptable that they're doing this much damage to us. We finally killed that medium arty, thank God. Didn't kill that star tank though, fuck. But we decapped the bleed, just desperate decaps at this point. And I mean, a decap is a decap. You gotta make a call whether or not. But you have to remember, you're giving a team 5, 10 TA depending on how many people are capping every time you do a stupid decap. And sure, you can win games by doing it, but it adds up. And oh, it's so close. Just gotta kill this one dude, and we'll get the cap. Can you do it?
You lost.
No, you can't. What a tragedy. You know, that's a frustrating moment. You know, if you look at me right now, at least I have the most points as armor. You know, as a self-respecting armor player, you want to have, at least on my team, look at this guy. Flappy Ears is just killing it. But I have one tank on the game, on the map. And you know, I'll take this point. Like, I wasn't a very good player. I can't believe Shiny kept me around for this long. You know, they were much better than me. I'm trying to get better now, even though it's an irrelevant, dead game. But, you know, definitely be critical of me. Bringing out 2 heavies, finally. Where's our scout chopper? We don't have a scout chopper, it looks like. That's a big mistake. And I think one of the big metas is just starting with a scout chopper all the time, because line of sight as armor is critical. It's, you know, again, your tanks can only see like this far, but they can shoot this far. So you need the line of sight or else they're useless. And if the other team has line of sight, it's game over. Now, here we go. This is the point where we realize, okay, we're going to lose. We're losing. These guys are doing good. It's time for drops. We got to push this point. If you're not pushing this point, you're going to lose. Because they're going to just keep attacking this and keep attacking this. And they're going to contest this, and they're going to win. So what do? Simultaneous drops. And this is an art that I haven't seen. I think it's a very critical art. The simultaneous drops. So you're landing within a second of the clusters. And then you're following up with to clean up. But against 2 air, the air players can rush back and clean you up really fast. And it takes a while of perseverance and repeated drops to really take control.
Your new units are combat ready.
But now we finally, 3 minutes or 4 minutes left, you got a positive tick. We finally got control of our side, and we're forcing the air to pull back and clean this up. And that's really where you can possibly win. So more heavy airstrikes. We're going to deny this cap. They're heavy airstriking us, which is pretty funny. Just the TA spam over here.
Copy that. Bring it into Sheridan.
So they managed to get the cap, though. Again, probably because they have no fear other than TA. And this is a desperate decap. Meanwhile, desperate drops. They're dropping us. This part is safe, at least. So they're doing simultaneous drops on us. We managed to capture the bridge. Another big heavy airstrike. And just some cheeky tanks in the back. And we managed to defend against their drops. Over here, they're spamming medium air, which is always a sign of desperation in my books. And we get the cap with the tanks because we destroyed them in the first place. And that's just perseverance, you know. You got to try a couple times. You know, it's an investment to clear it the first time and then just keep dropping before they can fortify it. They drop us here. Tanks, desperate defense, just parking the heavy on it. You know, look at that exposed heavy. Like, that's just asking to get nuked. But their heavy air is busy cleaning up the light tanks in the back. So that's about... If they had double heavy air, that would be a different story, but
Reinforcements are on the
good
way.
for us. Now we're 2 minutes left. We're still losing. They hold the bridge. We get cleaned up in the back. They take it back. We don't even hold this side. What do? I can tell you what you do. You do more drops. And just more and more drops. Fuck it. You know? And arty. Spam it. And you do desperate decaps. You know, this guy's gonna die. Like we're gonna repair the light tank. Yes. He gets the repair on the light tank. See, you don't even need a mic to have good team play right there. We hold all our sides. We can clean up their drops. And here comes the drop spam. Now, this would be perfect if we had a couple heavy or air-to-air strikes too. Just thinking back. But their heavy air is busy cleaning up our tanks. And really, that's the beauty of double armor. You know, there's just so many tanks. The heavy air is going to kill a lot of them, but there's just going to be more, you know. What are you going to do? And now we decap the bridge. We're holding this desperately. Light tanks there. Got light tanks and heavy tanks there. Heavy tank parked on the bridge. Light tanks in the back. Fucking up everything.
1 minute remaining.
Copy that. Heavy artillery mode
And now
inbound.
the tick is on our side. And that's as easy. Like, maybe because you could say Farmland is imbalanced. It's bullshit. USA wins all the time. But this was a close game. Maybe Shiny will actually lose. I don't know. But spoiler alert, Shiny wins.
You got casualties.
But this is a typical Shiny game. You know, just grinding. You're losing all the time. You're pissed off. You're playing poorly. You're getting outscored by significant margins. You're the worst armor player, but you still win. And you still keep playing Wick. Let's see. Now we're just spamming TA. But we got both sides. They can't do shit about it. They're spending all their TA trying to keep the bridge.
Your reinforcement has arrived.
We're dropping the back even though it doesn't matter. Like, what a waste. What if that's a 24-point waste. Good job. But that's a good game. That's Farmland. And I hope this recording worked. And I'll look forward to doing more recordings. Hopefully people can get good. And look at this. Shiny Ponter with the fortifying. You know, clearly massive game impact there. You know. Best player in North America. Alright. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something. Now, can I get OBS to work? And I'm probably not even going to edit this because I don't know how to edit shit. Hopefully I can at least cut this part out.